Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of It Depends, I Guess podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Caroline.
And behind we have
DJ.
Yes.
Cheers.
Blowtorch.
Blowtorch.
What is that thing called? Air or just an air horn? Welcome back.
Yes.
To episode 3.
Episode 3.
Episode 3
in season 2.
Season 2.
Yes.
Today we are tackling. You probably seen in the title. The Lion of Mombasa.
The Lion of Mombasa.
Yes. It is a limited series documentary on Netflix called Man with 1,000 Children.
Yes. Man with 1,000 Children.
Yes. So if you've watched it, if you've not watched it, I don't know if you should pause, watch it, and then come back. But we will try to tackle it with seriousness, but also
with all the it depends.
Yeah. So there's serious things to tackle, but also there's just, I don't know. Yeah, we will try to be serious when it needs to and be ourselves too.
And look at the other side.
The other side. But before we go into that, highlights, lowlights, anything.
This week I've been following what's been happening in Namibia, and the government decided that all countries that are not reciprocating visa requirements for them, they're gonna have the citizens visiting Namibia from those governments or those countries actually have to apply for a visa. So we're talking about the UK, the US, some countries in mainland Europe like Germany, Italy. And it's so amazing for me to actually follow this through because we know what our Kenyan government decided. It's like, we are a visa-free country.
Come on.
But us, we can barely enter another country.
Yeah, if you've seen those popular memes for show me you're from a country with a weak passport without showing me. We're the ones who show up to visa appointments with files. For your entire lifetime.
And a history of your grandmother, your mother, your
title deeds, everything.
So it is for me, kudos to the Namibian government to be like, hey guys, like this is what you're imposing on us. And you just have a taste of your same medicine, you know?
I'm curious to see how the Germans basically kind of still have a hold on that country. How that goes with that.
And there was some I've been watching this in the news and as well on social media where some folks are like, what if it affects our tourism industry? But the Ministry of Tourism in the internal government affairs was like, nope. If somebody wants to come visit our country, we still have all the resources that is required. That $90 US visa fee or visa on arrival is not going to affect that. And I like their confidence in that. If you really want to come visit, you will come visit. It's not like the visa is the one that's stopping you. So it is good to see that they've imposed this. Actually, it takes effect 1st of April 2025. And I actually learned that before you could, if you were Namibian, you could go to, I think, the UK visa-free until last year. 2023. Okay. So it looks like it's a ripple effect of countries that have always had these strict rules about visiting European countries. It's good to see that.
I mean, that's dope to hear.
Yeah.
One day I'll tell a story about my experience as a tourist in Namibia.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never been stopped by police in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Because they suspect me for peddling, for being like a part of a drug cartel.
Yes. Because they cannot understand why an African like you
is a tourist. Yeah, because they stop the taxi and they're like, where are you going? We're like, no, we're tourists.
Yeah.
We're visiting. Say, black tourists? From Africa?
How?
Out. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Me and my money have never gone back.
Yeah.
DJ.
Yes.
Are you with us?
Yeah, I am.
How has your week been?
The week has been great. Not eventful at all. It's only Monday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at me thinking, how is it?
Yes.
It's only Monday. But hopefully more will come.
Yeah.
More good things. All right.
What about you?
My highlight, I am fully, officially unemployed.
Woo, 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 woo.
Highlight.
That's a highlight.
That's a highlight. As I like to
Yes.
say, successfully unemployed.
Yes.
So I don't know, exciting, stressful, but I think generally exciting. So looking
Start a
forward
new
to
chapter.
Yeah. So looking forward to new chapter, new beginnings,
Yeah.
new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am in the same boat. For us, for people who probably don't know us among our friend circles, we've had full-time jobs apart from the podcast. So the podcast is our hobby and we
Yes.
love it. We love the conversations.
Yes.
But we've also had full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So the full-time jobs have come to an end and now we are exploring other things. This podcast being one of the things we're
Yes.
putting our efforts into.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a new chapter.
It is
Yes,
very
yes.
exciting. Very
Yes.
I don't know. But yeah, now I'm free.
Yes. Free as a bird.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Yeah, tell me first of all how you how you felt watching
Yes.
your emotions throughout watching that
So
documentary.
I actually watched it yesterday. You sent it to me, I think on Saturday. And I watched it yesterday. So it's fresh in my mind. The first thing I noticed when I was watching at the very beginning was this guy is carrying a backpack and there's a Kenyan flag on the
On it.
backpack. I think that's the first thing I was like, no, hold up. Let's rewind.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get to the Kenyan part, my thoughts at the beginning were like, oh, how noble of this man and to actually help families that really want to have kids,
Yeah.
you know? There are situations where, and they do have couples there who talk about them trying to have a child. It's a couple, maybe somebody has had a vasectomy, some are single women
Yeah.
who want kids. Others are lesbian couples
Same-sex.
that want, same-sex couples. And I thought, oh, but that's very noble. Like in the first episode, I was like, okay, let's see where this is going. So those were my first initial thoughts. And I was still looking at some point to see where the Kenyan connection is. Well, other than the part in the beginning where they mention, where he mentions about visiting Kenya to
build
help
schools.
for
Yeah.
kids. Yeah. So those were my initial thoughts. I don't know what were your initial thoughts.
Well, so I think the way it began, I was just like, oh yeah. Again, like, oh, nice, noble, nice to see.
Yeah.
Then when they started talking about selecting, so now they decided to go, okay, so they can have the option of going to a sperm bank.
Yes.
But the sperm bank has rules such that you can't, like when the people who donate their sperm, I think we usually will say they don't want to be contacted
Yes.
until maybe the child is 18 or something.
Yes.
Some it's fully
Yeah.
don't want contact. So the couple was saying that no, they wanted someone who their child, if their child wants to know their dad or want to be able to see their child more often, right? So they didn't want, that's why they opted to go off, not through the sperm bank method, but through private donation.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, okay, all right. Then now when they started saying how they went on this website and the first meeting, someone talked about their first meeting with this other guy who had a scar.
A scar, yeah.
And everything, I was just like, okay, all right. And then now when they said, then they saw this guy who had blonde hair, blue eyes. I said, oh, my Lord. Here we go. Because I was just like, really?
Yeah.
This is
But wait a minute. You know, okay, let's be serious, yeah? And this is where we say it depends, I guess, you know? Even I, as a person, when I'm looking for somebody to be, if I was given the option to select, of course I want the best genes for my kids.
Yes, but this is what surprises me. And maybe the fact that is if you're looking at beauty standards,
Yes.
the creme de la creme is
the
blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah.
That's very Hitler shit.
Yes.
That's we're the pure Aryans and this is
Yeah.
the pure, like it's very, like honestly, I thought we were beyond that as people. Also, this is a standard in probably white culture.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that was how they said it, because I would have thought, oh, maybe it's also different, because I think in our societies, when I've talked to people about how they used to do this whole finding a partner, traditionally, like your clan family would help find someone. Yes, there was beauty standards, but also there was things about family history, blah, 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 things like that, right? Now, because you're going off the books, private donation, if you're going through a sperm bank, ideally, hopefully, some of these things have been checked, hopefully. But if you're going private donation, I think those are things you would want, you'd care about. Yes.
Yeah. But they did talk about the interest the guy had. And I think because they could connect with the person on YouTube, because they would see like, oh, he does these videos on YouTube and he has all this interest. But what took them there
first? It's the blonde hair, blue eyes, right?
Yes.
Then all the vetting they're doing is on YouTube. Again, I don't know the processes for private donation, right? People I know or who I know of have always asked like a friend, or it's people they know, and I assume that helps build that background knowledge, right? So but when I had the blonde hair, blue eyes, I was just like, oh boy, And then they're like, yes, he does all these things. He said he's not available. He's going to Kenya to build schools. I said, oh.
When somebody talks about going to Kenya to build schools in Kenya.
The likelihood of that being scam or being...
And also
non-trustworthy is very high.
There is, and again, probably this is not going to be the best way to say it, but when somebody talks about going to Africa to do something that is a
white savior
mentality, to me, that gives me, this person has a certain complex.
Yeah.
They have a white savior complex, you know?
Yes.
You could say, I go to, I spend my time working for an NGO or something. But when you talk about, I'm building schools for this, and I'm building water wells, and I'm giving food, and it's like,
people love that. That's like, ooh.
Yes.
That is sexy. You're going to help Africa. Oh my God.
To my white friends, I do not agree. I will take any donations you might have. I am going back to build a school for real.
In Kenya.
In wherever schools need to be built, and wells.
I think to be serious, honestly, there's a rhetoric that has existed for a very long time. That when you visit some of these African countries, they are begging for your help. They're begging for, anything you can do. You can give that money for other people to go build the schools. Why does it have to be you going to physically build the school?
Because it's feel good.
Yeah, but there's always that thing of anyway.
Yeah, and to be fair, part of the issue some of us feel about these things is because it's not the country is lacking money. It's that a lot of money is being stolen.
Yes.
And there's a huge... Go ahead.
And there's a lot of schools. Okay? That is not the problem. There is a lot of schools. Only paying for them is the issue.
Yes.
But the schools are there. I think there's from when I went to Gambia, I noticed that there is a lot of schools.
Yeah.
Even wells. You just dig not more than 100 feet down, and there's just fresh water down there.
Yeah.
So you should think to yourself that, okay, this guy is going to build wells and schools. How many more do they need?
Yeah.
Unless if it's a...
And the reason why it's an easy scam is because you send money to say, these people are building schools. Schools are being built every day.
Yeah.
So if somebody just takes a picture of some school being built and sends it to you, you're like, that's what my money is doing. No, that school was already being built by the government. I mean, there's a documentary on, I think it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
That was done by, I forget which media house, a Canadian media house. But there's this Canadian NGO, like huge scam about building schools in Kenya.
Yeah.
But I think maybe because I'd also watched that and I remember that, I was just like, oh, no.
Yeah.
So when I had that part, I was like, hi.
Yeah.
But yeah, DJ, what were your
first initial
You were the one who recommended we watch this thing in the first place.
Because when I watched it, I didn't want to see the way I text you, and I didn't even tell you what was your country was featuring.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw Kenya, I just knew this. Sounds about right. Sounds. Yeah. I love the Kenyan mentality of not being able to pass an option.
Yeah.
An
An
opportunity.
They're like, what?
never passes you by.
There's money to be made in what?
Quail eggs.
No, you get there and you think you are the first one as a Zimbabwean. There are 2 Kenyans already there. They've made themselves country. My brother, welcome. Let me show you the way.
Let me tell you, the good thing about Kenyans is whenever there's an opportunity, whether we are selling muarobaine.
Yes, muarobaine is
neem
a tree.
It's
I guess it's neem.
Yeah.
It's a tree, traditionally. It's a herbal, it has herbal properties.
Yes.
And it's muarobaine means 40.
Yes.
So it's like, it says it heals 40 diseases.
There's a time that was the biggest thing you could do in Kenya.
Yeah.
Then quail eggs came.
Yeah.
Everybody
Somebody was
got on the same business.
Someone said, you can make money from quail
Quail
eggs.
eggs.
Oh my God. Everyone was
Yeah.
like,
That is
we are
excellent.
making quail eggs.
You should
We
be
are
proud
making
as
quail-
Kenyans.
So I wouldn't be surprised if people are making money from sperm donors.
From the sperm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's a scary thing, but at the same time, I was looking at him thinking, I thought exactly the same thing as you said, that this guy seems like he's doing a good thing.
Yes,
he's
very
giving
noble.
these people an option.
Yeah.
That's away from. And even so, one lady, he said, listen, we can do it the natural way. I thought
I know.
that was very
And the
that's for the cause, that stuff.
That
You
lady
know what I
said,
mean?
come on.
Championing.
Yeah, championing. Like
Yeah.
I was like, that's taking one for the team, no problem. And then it seemed to be that like, if you look at how dangerous it is, if you look at it seriously, that could be very dangerous.
It truly is. And I think one of the things that is surprising, well, no, it's not surprising, is, okay, so clearly he was lying, right? So he tells this lady, my plan is to only give until 5 people.
Yeah.
That's it. And then he's telling the other lady, you're the 5th. Another one, you're the 4th.
Yeah.
Another one. So it got to a point, I remember one lady who's a teacher said, she had told one of her other teachers, like her workmate, that she got private donation.
Yeah.
So then this teacher was telling her, like, I actually also decided to go private donation. I'm also going to get a child. Like, interesting. And where, like, do you know the guy? Then she described the guy, and the lady said, what's his name? Same guy. So the kids are going to be siblings, but they just happen to be work colleagues. I'm like, what? But then now it comes out that there's like plenty, and and the visual was just scary because it's like a map and they're just popping up the number of kids that they think he's done. Now this is just private donation.
Yeah.
There's a sperm bank called Cry. I think it's one of Cryos,
Yeah.
one of the biggest, globally based in Denmark. And there he was tapping out every month. He would, like, his sperm would sell out.
Yeah.
He's called back.
My God.
Sell out.
There's one time when
he's very popular.
I don't know if it was him or one of his friends, they compared it to milking a cow.
That's
Yes.
when it
That's
was
when I
done
knew
in
that
Kenya.
this
Yeah.
guy.
Oh yes, when he went to Kenya, he said that he was telling, now it's like a group of people who are like, and it's a competitive thing for them.
Yeah.
So now they tell each other like, there's these guys who are looking for sperm, like go here. So now that he got the connect from Mombasa. And so Mombasa is in Kenya. And so now he was telling them, and the Mombasa one, they're being flown in and accommodation paid, everything. Mombasa is a tourist city. It's a beach town, very beautiful. Like we have very beautiful beaches. So it's basically like a holiday, but you're also giving sperm. And that's when he was saying like, no, it's really dope. But like, it's like they're milking a cow.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like, it's good, man, but where I've been milked like a cow.
Like a cow. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
And it was weird that these cryos guys, you can't say this world don't know what's happening. Because there's like in the Netherlands, a lot of these people in the Netherlands, the ones who are finding each other, there's a limit, right, to the number of times a sperm can be used.
Yeah.
And the reason that they have these laws in countries that allow for sperm banks and the use of sperm for fertility is you don't want to have too many of the same person's sperm used, because then you increase the chances of people with the same DNA in the country and they don't know each other, right? Because if you go through a sperm bank, the donor can decide, no, I'm just giving, I don't need to know the person.
Yeah.
And some people can decide, yeah, but then only when I'm 18, when they're 18, right? So they don't want chances of, if you're giving to 2,000 people in a community, like and then like the Netherlands is not like a massive country, or in some of these, like the Danish countries are not like 60 million people. So you don't want to increase the chances of accidental incest, right?
Yeah.
So they know this, but then their workaround is, yes, but we will now give your sperm here and give your sperm here. But then also there's many other sperm banks.
Yeah.
So none of these sperm banks are checking. It's all on a system. So if I come and say, yeah, no, I'm only with you.
Yeah.
There's no...
It's an honor system.
Yeah.
It is. There are no central databases or legal stipulations that say we must have a central database where we sort of compare different donors. I guess they do ask for their government papers and everything. So this is some of the places I thought to myself, like, there are so many steps we have to make before... even, let's say, Western world, I'm not even thinking about our African countries, in the Western world, to actually make some of these laws and regulations in place. And another thing probably that comes up almost at the very end of this documentary is that even when they were talking about Cryos as one of the biggest sperm banks, these folks, the two guys, the one with the scar and the guy they had created their own website called Longing for a Child.
Yes.
It's in Danish.
That's where those people found them.
Yes, they found them.
Yeah,
but there were
donors.
very many profiles in there, but they were two people with
creating names
and different profiles.
Yeah, like Jacob.
So
Joan.
so maximizing. Yeah. So it's either you get one or the other.
So you think you're scanning through,
yes,
and you're like, oh, you're vetting, but you're just vetting between two people. The same two people. They've just created different names.
Again, there are no specific laws and regulations that talk about, like, if you start a sperm bank website or a sperm bank. This is for private donations, but I don't know if there are big laws that exist in Europe other than for each country where they limit the number. That was my takeaway, actually, at the middle of the...
That's true.
Yes.
We have a whole European Union.
Yes.
They can figure out common movement with Schengen visas and all that stuff. This is the one thing they can't figure out.
They cannot have a central database. To me, that was like the most
They can figure out tax systems. So you can't be lying that you don't have things in France and no.
Yes.
So, but then this is the one that they're like, oh, no. What the Denmark does, what UK does, it's like, no.
Yeah. There's so many big steps to be put forward. But
coming back, what also baffled me about it?
Yeah.
What was he? There's no monetary gain. I don't know. Maybe it's the African. I was like, wait, you guys, bro, you're not getting paid.
But it's a God complex.
All he says, he just wanted transport fees. I said, bro. What?
At the end of it, they talk about it almost being like a cult, a God complex sort of.
I think he's a sociopath.
And the way even he talks, you would think, oh my gosh, yes, he cares about all his 1,000 children.
And even how they're saying, because the court, when he was taken to the court, to the criminal court in the Netherlands, or Brussels.
It's in The Hague. It was in The Hague. Yeah.
So then he was saying, he plans to be in these kids' lives. And the judge asked, how do you plan to do for 1,000 kids? How? Logistically, just how?
Yeah.
And then these ladies who took him to court started realizing that the content he creates on YouTube is kind of a way of him to like distant parent.
Yes.
Which, if you would watch a lot of his content, the one they were showing was just like, oh, I don't believe in this thing, and I would not be shocked if in 18 years or however, whenever these kids are of age or considered an adult in Europe, these become cult members.
Yeah.
Because it's...
And he did mention that he was suggesting that the kids would have a marker on their social media profiles
to know that they are
a child of. Again, God complex.
That's
Yes.
That is the part that I was just like, this is sociopathic behavior, is him and the friend who formed the Longing for a Child.
Yeah.
Where sometimes they would mix their sperm.
Oh, yeah, that was
Then it's like a sperm roulette. So like you don't know what will. I said.
I think also, guys, let's be also look at the other side. I'm going to be devil's advocate here.
So it depends. Yeah?
It depends, I guess.
Yes.
There we go. These people were told. There are some people who even knew that now he's got over 300 kids. They still went back to him and asked for more children. There's that one gay and lesbian or gay couple.
Yeah.
They went back to him and said, "Yo, please, we just want one more, and then we'll be happy." So, which means even after he was prosecuted and he was told he can't go back and have more kids, he can still make kids with people he already had kids with.
The ruling, interesting, was you couldn't have new children. Like children with new people or something, which means with existing,
he could
still go back and this is.
But I have seen. I wouldn't blame the parents in that aspect, because I have friends of mine who are single parents, and one thing they talk about is no matter how bad the relationship was with their partner, they would always want to have a second child with this person.
But why?
I don't know genetically. I cannot explain it because I've not been in that position.
I've always been curious about that.
Yeah, but I know some who've actually told me, I know it was really bad, but I would wish I would have a second child with them and then move on, you know? There's something about having the same father to your kids, probably.
But is that a you thing, or is that for the kids? Is that for you?
Probably for both.
Because for the kids, to them, their siblings, this is our mom.
Yes.
So this whole thing of, we need to have the same dad, I think that's more.
It's a
more like, if it were me, it's more a me thing.
Yes.
And less for actually my kids.
It could be a me thing, and it also could be a societal thing, you know, because maybe you're looked different where you say, oh, my kids are from one father and I am the mother.
That is true. That is
where
true.
If you said, oh, my kids have two different fathers, you're viewed differently.
I've even seen certain dating shows where someone will say, do you have kids? Or the girl is asked, do you have kids? She'll say, yes, I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
And then the question will be like, how many dads?
Dads, yeah.
And if it's like, they all have different dads,
you're judged
really
harshly and different compared to somebody who's like, okay, I only have a single father to these kids. Yeah.
No, that's fair. I never thought of it that way.
So I wouldn't, so going back to those women who would go back to him despite the ruling. They got a nice kid, now they want him again.
Because still, blonde hair, blue eyes. Hey.
Maybe also for the kids to look the same.
And the sad part is that, you know, I saw, I think it was after I was watching some catch-up things, and then this woman was saying that she had covered her face. It's one of the ones on YouTube. And she had said, this is something that happens in Kenya all the time. I have made millions of going to collect European men's sperm and bringing it and selling it back to Kenyans who want mixed babies with blonde hair.
This is something we don't talk about in open. A lot of people do want mixed kids or light skin. Like we've talked about colorism, but also like light skin, like mixed kids is seen to be a good thing.
Yeah.
A child is a child. But I know people who've told me personally, they only want to have kids with a white person because they want mixed kids. I have never questioned it further because I always knew whenever I question further, it's going to come across very judgmental. And people get very defensive. So I just have never questioned, but I have many, many people who have told me that.
Yeah, it's a tricky subject. Very tricky.
Yeah, it's a very tricky and personal subject. But to call a spade and not a big spoon, yeah? These kids, as our society exists, colorism is a thing. And it would take a very long time before it stops being a thing. And sometimes
So their life will be easier.
Their life will be easier.
Yeah.
They will probably have access to more opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because also this is the other thing that I've watched many serial killer movies. Stay with me. This is going somewhere. And every time there's someone who's been found for like serial killer and true crime.
Yeah.
Somebody has been murdered, whatever, there's an investigation. Then they say, oh, we found it is this guy who killed the girl who's been killing people. People who knew that person or people in that small town will always say, oh, but he was so handsome. And I've always wondered, so wait, so looks is equivalent to personality. And I think we live in a time where if you're good looking, people automatically assume you're nice, you're smart, you're all these different things. So I'm not surprised, even with this, oh, he was beautiful man with blonde hair, blue eyes, etc. That already gave them a feeling of, oh, yeah,
he's a good
Do you think that's
person.
part of the reason why he's gotten away with it for so long and he still hasn't been prosecuted or even judged for what he's done?
Yeah, but also because he's a man. We are living in a world right now, people are voting over women's bodies and what to do. Should you have an abortion? Should you not? Should you even have access to contraceptives? Should you have access to... Our bodies are voted on by a bunch of dudes. But this dude can be out here doing this shit. And that's...
Yeah, there's something that he was prosecuted at The Hague at the very end. Yeah,
but he was just told if you find you'll be fined 100,000.
Yeah, but there's something that happened after, and it's the Australian women who talked about it. Is that this is the first time there has been a ruling on a man's body. Like, to me, that was like
the first time.
This is the first time a man's body has been on topic of a legal system, and there has been a ruling that controls what a man does with that body.
Objection. Wait.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
Wait.
Yes.
I can't think of something off top, but I just want to put my...
Maybe we give you like a minute to think about it.
Damn, really?
Yes. Well, everybody is voting about abortion, about contraceptives, about all that. The ruling, I don't know if they do rule for men to get vasectomy or something, if they've done something heinous. I don't know if that has ever happened.
You know, there's you know, for pedophiles and stuff, I know there are some states in
that
America
are discussing
what's it called?
Castration.
Yeah.
Chemical
castration.
Castration
for pedophiles.
Yeah.
Who, if you think about it, a pedophile can also be a woman.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Now, but technically, maybe a lot tend to be men.
Yeah.
Fair.
But think about it, that in as much as it was about this one man, that it getting to that level where they were told what they can do and not do with their body and their sperm and how they're going to spread it, that was a big landmark.
Which I bet you is spreading as we speak in Africa.
Well, in Africa.
Where one of those guys said, our goal is to bleach Africa.
Yeah.
That was a very racist comment.
This is the shit that we are wanting to have mixed babies with.
Yeah.
We want to bleach Africa.
Because my brothers are out here bleaching as well. Hey.
Well, okay. There's internalized...
I'm not sure. Are we okay?
That's true. It's true. There's internalized self-hate.
Yeah, because if you walk around Zurich, come on.
There's a lot of... Wait, which kind of bleaching are you talking about?
No, not the of the skin, but I'm saying of spreading the mixed child in Europe. Soon Europeans, if you go out to a nightclub here, 99% of black people who are in the club are mixed with white person.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You won't, apart from us, our gang who goes to the club, our clique, but the rest of them are mixed.
Can I bring another topic here, probably a bit related, yeah? I do have friends of mine in Germany, and we've had this conversation before. And it turns out it's not necessarily us, the Black people, who want the mixed kids.
Also, there's a lot of,
Yes, the women as well.
Yeah.
And I know this from somebody who's white who's told me that, is that they're revered, they're looked at as, they call them mocha babies, you know? Like if you get a child who's mixed, they love that. There's a certain set of women, well, I'm specifically talking about Germany, because that's where I got this information from, where they do seek out Black people for the kids, for the mixed kids.
For the...
Yeah, yeah. The women now, yeah.
So it'll balance out eventually. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's just not call it bleaching, because damn. That was
very racist.
Like, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. And I do love the reaction that the women had, especially I think the Australian women.
Yeah.
And also even then, okay, first of all, let's give it up for the Netherlands women.
So let me tell you one thing I have learned. You don't mess with lesbians because, hey.
You've got time.
Hey. Ooh, they will pursue it to the end.
And also something that came out for me quite strong is that these women are not afraid to talk about their struggles. They're very open about it.
Yeah.
They're not mincing words where they say, oh, I was given this pot with a sperm and I had to drive by the roadside and inseminate because I didn't want it.
There was traffic. And
there was traffic.
The longer this stays, the sperm is dying. She said, I pulled up the side of the road and I was like, well.
I think the Dutch women are the strongest women and the most open women.
So just...
Imagine being stopped. How do you explain that?
The cop is passing by, you're like, hold on.
Wait a minute.
He's like, hold on, wait a minute.
Because, also you have to sit there with your legs up for a bit.
Yes.
So,
As a cop, I think being a cop is difficult because the amount of thinking you'd have to do to decide, right, there's a crime somewhere here. I just don't know.
Also, there's her privacy. So also just can't be standing here.
I can't just... Do I let her... I can't do that. It's on the side of the road. But she's in a car. And then there's a lot of debate that would have to go through your mind to decide whether this is a crime.
Maybe they would call it as indecent exposure.
Yeah, but you're in your car.
Still, it does happen. Like, well, in
happens.
Kenya, indecent exposure is also inside the cars.
Yes. Because there's a lot of... This is
sex that happens in cars.
Yes, but also there's a lot of perverts. I've seen there's a lot in Europe.
Yeah.
Who expose themselves to you as they're driving. Like a car slows down and someone exposes themselves. Yeah, that is also counts as indecent
exposure.
Yeah.
Shows how much I know.
As I say, there's a man must be nice.
It must be nice. But yeah, it does give up to the Dutch women.
But also what I found sad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sad, eye-opening, not sure. A lot of, or maybe it's because people who were comfortable coming out were specifically lesbians.
Yeah.
Because our large majority was lesbian. So I'm curious, are gay men not seeking out, or them they already have the sperm? So they're just
they probably are looking for somebody.
But also there's only one straight couple who was willing to come on camera because he had a vasectomy and they couldn't reverse it.
Yeah.
So I do think there's maybe also a lot of couples who are straight couples who are in the same situation where the man is not either had a vasectomy or
maybe they have a problem.
Yes. And maybe they're not willing to come on camera.
Yeah.
But then they talked about how they got, when this now became publicized, right? Because they were able to be published in the New York Times, etc. It became a bigger story. The amount of hate they were getting.
Oh, yes.
From people being like, you deserve that. Like,
you should have let God.
You should have let God. Yeah. Basically saying, as same-sex couples, you're not entitled to have children. And I'm thinking, and even like we're looking at the laws here. In Switzerland, you can you can go to sperm banks, but it's only for straight heterosexual couples.
Yeah.
So, which it makes me sad because as a society, many societies have decided that, if you're same sex, somehow that's a character flaw and you don't deserve to have children, which is insane. We've gone back to similar to how I was saying, it's weird how if you're good looking, people let's assume you're smart. It's also like, only if you're straight do you deserve to have children. Or that makes a good parent. But we've seen stories of the horrendous things happening to kids in majority straight families. But somehow, just because you're heterosexual, yes,
you've already been born.
You should be a parent.
Yeah, it's quite sad, especially like looking at countries and some regulations. You would think Switzerland would be a very progressive country in some ways. But again, we only recently voted for same-sex marriages, I think as recent as, when was this, 2019 or something? It was quite recent. Or even it was after that. I can't remember. But it does raise a question about some of these things do happen because, especially the private donations, this guy was enabled by systems in place that are already making it very difficult for people who want kids to have kids. And already if you're a certain, if you don't follow what they expect a family looks like, they've already branded you as a person who don't deserve to have your kids, you know? And you could tell these parents love their kids. Like they are proud of them, you know? And they're willing to do anything for these kids.
In fact, the whole point of them going through this entire process was for the children. To prevent the phenomenon that has been, they're still trying to build more research around it, but a phenomenon that if you have similar genetics, let's say, for example, children who are separated at birth, right? Or one child is adopted out, etc. If they ever reconnect later in life without knowing they're your sibling, there's a sexual attraction. And they call it genetic sexual attraction.
It has a very deep name.
So the whole point of them going through all this is to prevent accidental incest, right? Because now there's so many of these kids from the same person in a society. Like the chances, normally, yes, the chances are very less, but then this is just increasing. So it's truly a moral issue and an ethics issue. Because otherwise you could just, go spread your
royal seed
everywhere. But then there's a reason why it's not, why even these sperm banks, etc., should have some sort of regulation to prevent that.
I had an idea that, okay, these companies, especially sperm donor companies or hospitals, should keep a database like a police record. If you notice that in Europe, if you get arrested in Dublin, you could be in Hamburg. Get arrested too. Your Dublin record is going to show up in Hamburg. So it's not like you're going to be. So use the same database system that is based on people's health. If you're European, I think everyone should sign up to this. So when you come to the sperm bank and say, listen, I'm here to donate my jizz. Okay? Sorry for the juvenile word. I probably should have used a different word.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. Right. If I'm going to use my seed, my seed, the DNA attached to that seed is in the records. So if you do have donated over 25 times, obviously that's you done in the system. So if you go to another country and all these companies should be certified by one body. That way that DNA cannot be passed through to too many other people. Another note for today is maybe no one in Netherlands should go out with each other. Everyone should just stay away from Netherlands? No.
They should just date others. But then now you see, he's spread across.
But he's in Brazil, he's in Thailand, he's in Kenya.
Brazil is okay. There's a large population out there.
he's in
But
Kenya.
you may go to another country. Switzerland was mentioned as well from crayons,
Yeah, Switzerland is mentioned,
So I think it still baffles me why he did this. Like, I would want to enter his mind just to see. I did watch a follow-up. I think checked on social media where he was reacting to the trailers that happened for this Netflix show. And he was still at it. I am a good person who's decided to help
He believes he
families.
was honest. He
Yes.
told you who he was.
No, he did. No.
No, he gave you his name. That's one. You saw his face. What you believe after that, whether he's telling the truth about having 25 or not, that's now
So, but
something
if you
where
think,
you should.
if he truly was trying to just help people, what was the point of him lying to the couples?
The couples were moving in a black market anyway.
That's what I'm saying.
That
If
is something
his
that's in a black
argument
market.
is
If
that
they wanted legitimacy, if I go and buy a laptop on Facebook Market, I should expect that something is weird going on. Okay, either it's been misused or something. If I want legitimacy, I go straight to the Apple Store and then I get a receipt for that.
But that's it. That's what I'm saying. If his argument is that he's out here being altruistic and being noble, why lie from the get-go? Why lie?
There's a deeper motive to deciding that he wants to spread 1,000 kids around the world.
It's way more than 1,000.
It's way more than 1,000.
It's way more.
Yes, okay, let's say, 2,000 kids
At
around
the
the
end,
world.
they said it's
3,000.
up of 3,000.
What?
Yes.
So which means it's even more than 3,000.
Because they can trace they formed the Facebook group. So people from private donation came and jumped
Yes.
in. Then now there's people who got it through cryos. Then now you're only counting the ones in the developed markets.
Yes,
Now,
we are not counting
now you're
our
not
Africa
counting now
and continent.
the-
Guatemalas.
yes, those ones we're not counting the Brazil,
Nairobis.
South Africa,
Hiya.
we are not counting those ones. You're counting the ones that are traceable.
But you know, let me tell you what, I give it up to him that this, because he's done 17 years. He's been a donor for 17 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong. He's done this for a very long time.
Imagine
has
if he
a
was making a
long haul.
I wonder how much he would have made
I
if
don't
he had
think
This
charged.
guy is going to be a cult leader. May I tell you, I will not be surprised if in 20 years.
Say, all my
we are
children,
this-
come to me.
Yes.
He'll just
Papa.
put on his
Come
YouTube,
to
come
Papa.
to your
Yes.
father.
Come to your father. I will not. There has to be something. This is a long
And
game.
it's well thought out.
It
is
is
a
a
long
very
game.
long game, honestly.
Because I think he also foresaw that, listen, nobody's going to, what law is going to, how am I going to be prosecuted for this? How am I going to even see jail time or even a penalty? Nothing.
Yeah, he found a loophole.
Nothing.
But you see, this is what I thought. At the very end, I think which was on episode 3, where he was talking about where the other super donors came out. It is not only him.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch.
There's
And they
a whole
compete.
bunch, and they compete,
And
it's
brag.
not.
Imagine
yes.
the ones we don't know about.
Yes, this is one person we've had the Netflix show. Imagine the 2 others who are now in Kenya being milked. Like house. Where else have they been milked?
If you see any white people in Kenya walking around a little bit frail, where their knees are just about to buckle,
They look young,
they
but
they look young, but man, this guy,
And it's not drugs.
he's not drugs. Just ask him, bro, are you okay? Give him some milk.
yeah.
Oh, pineapple. Yes, pineapple is good. Yeah, just to give.
So what? This is wild. This is wild.
There is
We are laughing about it, but
It's because this is they've just scratched the surface.
Yes,
Now
yes.
imagine the black market that exists.
yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
where aunties, they're busy selling,
Oh.
saying, I've made millions. In US dollars again, just in case you are thinking.
Yeah, the Zimbabwean dollars. US dollars.
US dollars. It's a big market. And I think they do have, especially in Africa, I know you can get any sperm you want in Africa. Like there's plenty. But specifically for the white man's sperm,
Yeah, that's the reason. Like, it's fascinating because people do want the mixed kids thing.
Yes.
Because if you wanted sperm in Kenya. You know how men here are just dodging kids? Like,
Yes.
What?
In Kenya, people are willing to spread.
Dodge.
What would you
Sahar.
like?
Yeah.
Are you busy in
People
about 20
are,
minutes?
people are, somebody to give you sperm. What? The ones who say they love you, they take off once you're pregnant. Now, the ones who you just tell them, no, I don't, you just give me your sperm.
Yeah.
I'm good.
They're very many.
People will be lining up outside your gate.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why he's gotten away with it. Someone has to give these. Someone has to. I think, if you think about it, the European population is aging really fast.
Yeah, it is.
Really fast.
Yeah.
So okay, our people might not look like us, but hey, we need to get someone to do something, and he's doing that job. To be fair,
We need to. This is terrible. We need to. In Kenya, there's a time. There was still maybe is a big problem with alcoholism in certain villages.
Yes, in our
And
central
it was-
province.
Yeah, so it was really bad that a lot of there were no kids because the men were drinking, getting drunk,
Come
and
on.
basically just could not.
Yeah.
I hear
The
that.
word service the women. So there were no. So women are protesting. Oh man, the women in the villages are protesting.
I saw this.
Yeah. Now, if those villages start popping up with mixed kids,
Yeah.
let's.
Yeah.
Although I did hear there's a lot of men from my side of the country
Who are
like-
coming to Central.
who said, "Oh, you just need men to give you kids. I will be there."
Yeah.
Hold on, we will be there.
Yeah. Nursery schools in our central
Yeah,
province
they were
started
closing because there were not
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
kids. But you see, that's the thing. This is fascinating. So if you're saying the lady had said how she's making millions,
Yeah.
it means she's selling the sperm at a good price.
Yes.
So these guys are not getting a cut at all.
No.
So they're being milked, but they're not getting a cut.
Yeah.
They're getting only place to stay and maybe their holiday paid off.
That's it.
Like something small, maybe.
Something small.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If it's a holiday in Kenya, why not?
Holiday in Mombasa, you're staying at
Mombasa.
5
Do you know how much sperm guys waste?
and you get that and you give out and you get a free holiday.
I'm thinking, between the time when did I first discover that there's something going on?
Please stop.
I'm gonna have to remove this. I think I was 13,
Kind of.
14 from that period
Jesus
until
Christ.
today. You could fill up this whole apartment. This whole apartment outside. It will drip outside all through the neighborhood. You'd
Actually,
have complaints. Like that overflowing bubble bath that just won't stop.
yes.
You'd just be,
It's just maybe based on this thing coming out, somebody should do a web crawl to see if the number of websites for private donations have shot up.
Yeah.
Maybe men have realized, wait.
Yes.
I've been sitting on a
Yes.
$1 billion industry here.
if socks could talk.
Oh my God.
But you know what? My takeaway. My takeaway.
But why socks? Okay.
I don't know. It's just the
maybe it's the
nearest thing.
closest
That's the
thing.
closest.
Yeah, I've always
thing.
And then
wondered.
if it's probably
Logistically,
well-
it
I
makes no
just don't
sense.
know. I don't know.
So if I give our African brothers a challenge, please go to these sperm banks and also
Donate, just so we
Yeah.
balance things out.
Please,
Yeah,
please.
100%.
Can we do that?
No.
Yes.
My guys are out there working though. You see out here
Yeah.
in the streets in Zurich. Hi. I think this happens by mistake. This is hard work.
I know, by the way, in another 15, 20 years, Zurich will be very mixed.
Will
Yeah,
be,
100%.
Yes, yeah.
Look
It will
very
be very,
different.
will look
Even
very
they've said
different.
that. They've said that
Yeah.
in media that the
Yeah.
Swiss person won't look
The same, yeah.
the same
Even
anymore.
Germany.
But we want to keep the values of what being Swiss is.
Yeah.
The language,
Even Germany
the
will
culture.
look different.
Yeah.
Because already they've had to open their borders to get more labor.
Yeah.
This is young, virile African men.
Yeah.
Off a boat where he nearly died on a desert, then went into the water, nearly died there as well. He's
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
here. That is the toughest man. That's the guy you want this
Actually,
gene
that's
pool from.
true.
That is
That's a
good
very
point.
strong gene.
Try any other one, anyone else.
That is
Yeah.
true. We've been through some shit.
I'm telling you.
Oh,
Okay, cool.
all right. I don't know what
takeaway?
the takeaway is. Takeaway here is
My takeaway is what I said. Our African brothers, our Actually, even women as well, because we can also contribute our eggs if we want to into some of this.
Mine are probably fried by now. Scrambled.
We can contribute to to some of these banks.
Yeah. Actually, we should look at data. I'm pretty sure. I'm curious to know if you go into like that cryos, for example, and you want your specificity for sperm is from a black man, African man, etc. I wonder how.
Of course, it's
not go from like we have millions to like we have 10.
Yeah.
I wonder what that looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely we should give more.
Yeah.
And I do hope there is more regulation.
Definitely.
We've got a friend who just had a baby through a sperm donor. I wonder if she'd be interested in coming to talk to us.
Yeah.
That's something we should look into.
Yeah.
I did
but
see.
It would be good to have some regulation at least, because the whole idea here is I agree in terms of like the ladies having to chase this down to get the kind of ruling they did, because yes, you don't want issues like accidental incest.
Yeah.
Because then that down the line, population wise, that's going to have really bad repercussions.
Yeah.
And I think also it's just even for the person who, if let's say you accidentally find out you've accidentally been procreating with your sibling.
Yeah.
That's a traumatic discovery. You were telling me about a story of accidental incest, a couple who had kids and then realized that they're siblings. One was adopted out.
Mm-hmm. I do remember saying a story
and,
like that.
Yeah, and they're already married. They already have, they found out they already had 2 kids or something.
Yeah.
And then now they found out that they're siblings. While like the guy, I think, was adopted out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
the mother actually gave up the son for adoption.
Yeah.
Because she was young anyway. I think she was maybe in her teens.
Yeah.
Had the guy, and then he went off. They met somewhere. He ended up having a baby with his mother.
Wow. With his mother?
with the mom.
Yeah, with the mom.
What?
Without realizing, yes, he's way young. She was in, you could see, and he's holding his head and he's thinking to himself that, we've made a massive mistake. But this was already done because they had now tested that this is my son. And he had been speaking. Now, where we were confused is what were they talking about
when
this whole
dating.
time when they were dating? I was like, you would have discussed where are your parents from? What did you do? Were you given up for adoption? It would join at some point, but it didn't.
But you see, if it's sorry, I don't know if it's an African.
No, they're African American.
Yeah.
African American. You know, some of these things are not discussed within families. So probably he was never told he was adopted. You know,
And
that's
if
also
it was a
possibility.
close adoption.
Yeah. They probably maybe never came up.
Yeah.
And
And then, so they were sitting next to each other. Like you could see there was like a brick wall beside them because they couldn't even touch against each other.
Because now you found out
that I've
this
been
is
sleeping
my
with my
mother.
mother.
Oh, yeah. There is always that connection when you're genetically when you're genetically connected, you get a lot of sexual tension.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's just an attraction. But then the only way your mind processes it is that it's a sexual attraction.
Yeah. Definitely.
Maybe you're just drawn to the person and then you think your body processes it as or your mind is like, oh, it might be.
Yeah. Because you can't rationalize it any other way. You're not meeting somebody off the street and you're like, I'm going to be your best friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like family.
We like each other.
You are family.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, before we close off, give it up to the Kenyan government because in 2022, they did publish a bill about the assisted reproductive technology bill. This was in 2022. I think it was received in 2023.
Yes.
And it does help stipulate some of the laws.
I need to confirm. It has been...
Yeah. So it was a Kenya Gazette supplement 201. Yeah. So they do have...
But they've not... it's not been fully enacted. By 2023, it was not fully enacted. So unless it happened this year. Yeah.
So National Assembly received it in 2023. And they're supposed to come up with a committee of assisted reproductive technology. So, governments are in talks and also thinking about this seriously. So it is.
And to be fair, this happens a lot. Even I know a lot of stories, a lot of situations where, actually, at least in Kenyan society, where the man is not able to reproduce with their partner, and it's still very taboo. It's already taboo for you to have reproductive issues as a woman.
Yeah.
But I think for men it's even
worse.
Taboo because you know, a lot of sometimes in our culture, a lot of your value as a man is also your virility and you know, etc. So I know a lot of people are doing this thing of private donations is happening a lot.
Yeah.
But I hope as a society we're also able to progress and just realize, you know, reproductive health, it's hit or miss. You know, it's sometimes it just could be that you're not able to reproduce, but then having these bills and things like that makes it easier for people to go through these things with some sort of without feeling any shame.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you find that I know women who sometimes what they've done is like they'll hook up with someone else, and in some cases the guy doesn't know that he's not able to to help in the reproduction. So the woman takes it in their hands, literally. And to kind of preserve the dude's ego. There are situations where like the man knows and they try to find a solution, but undercover. Usually the larger family doesn't know, right? But it clearly means that there's some issue with our society and how we view these things, whereby people are shamed for things that are out of their hands, right? It's just, if my body is not able to do this thing, I should not be shamed for it, right? So hopefully this laws, we have better laws basically to just around reproductive health across the continent,
and different mindsets
and globally, right? For people to have to go through this, all they wanted was to have a kid. And then now here you are going to The Hague to have to chase down some dude, spreading his sperm because now your son has 3,000 sisters and brothers. Like, that's insane.
And it was so cute when they brought them into the same room
in
like
like
a plane.
I'm like, these kids have no clue what is happening. They're just like,
it's a whole building of the kids.
I have so many siblings. To be fair, as a kid, if you'd have told me I have 3,000 siblings, I'm like, that's so dope. I have 3,000 people to play with.
Yeah.
But then now as you grow up, man, it's terrible. I really hope this is something that it's able to be solved. Awesome.
Thank you. And see you on the next one.
Yes.
Yay. Bye-bye.